Your dog is asleep right now, curled up at the foot of the bed, breathing slow, maybe twitching through some dream you will never know about. And you love that dog more than most people in your life. You probably do not even have to think about that. It is just true. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. When was the last time you really looked inside your dog's mouth? Not a glance. Not a quick peek while you scratch their chin. A real deliberate look at the teeth in the back, the gum line along the sides, the spots the toothbrush never quite reaches. If you did that right now, what you might find is a thick yellowish-brown crust hugging the base of every tooth. It does not brush off. It does not rinse away. It has been building for months, maybe years, and underneath it, the tissue holding those teeth in place is already starting to fight a losing battle. That is tartar, and it is not just a cosmetic problem. You saw the thumbnail. You know where this is going. There are things, real, food-grade, vet-reviewed things that you can add directly to your dog's bowl starting tonight, and they will begin breaking down the bacterial film that becomes plaque and the hardened mineral deposit that becomes tartar from the inside out. Not a $300 dental cleaning every 6 months. Not the enzymatic toothpaste your dog spits onto the wall. Not the chew that dissolves in 30 seconds and disappears into a rug. Something that works with your dog's biology, costs almost nothing, and is probably already sitting in your kitchen or on your grocery store shelf right now. Stay with me because this is the full picture. Every single thing you need to know. And the longer you wait to start, the more that crust is doing damage you cannot see. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jin Park, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. Here's a number I want you to hold on to for this entire video. 80%. By the time a dog reaches 3 years old, 80% of them already have some form of periodontal disease. Not a little buildup. Clinical, progressive, bone-affecting disease. And in my clinic, I see it in dogs as young as 18 months when the diet and care have been off since puppyhood. The hard veterinary truth is that dental disease does not stay in the mouth. The bacteria that colonize beneath the gum line enter the bloodstream. They travel. They have been found in the tissue of the heart, the liver, and the kidneys in dogs who had no symptoms other than bad breath and reluctant chewing. This is not a scare tactic. This is what the research has consistently shown for the past 2 decades, and it is why I take this topic so seriously. Now, before we go any further, I want you to drop the guilt at the door. You did not cause this by being a careless owner. Nobody taught you this. The bag of kibble in your pantry did not come with a dental health manual. You are here right now watching a video about your dog's teeth, which means you are exactly the kind of owner I built this channel for. What we are going to cover today is a complete masterclass on natural, food-based support for your dog's oral health. I am going to walk you through 6 specific things you can add to the bowl, why each one works at a biological level, exactly how to use them, and the vet warnings you absolutely need before you start. Grab a notebook if you have one nearby, because you are going to want to write this down. And if you are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists to give you the kind of thorough, honest guidance that protects your pet's life. Every video I make is designed to be that resource. Let's dive in. I also did a video recently on gut health and the immune connection in dogs. If you want to understand why oral bacteria has such a wide systemic impact, that video pairs perfectly with this one. Chapter 1. Why the bowl matters more than the toothbrush. Before we get to what goes in the bowl, you need to understand what is happening in the mouth. And I promise I will keep this simple because the biology here is actually fascinating once you see it clearly. Your dog's mouth is an ecosystem. There are hundreds of bacterial species living there at any given moment, and most of them are completely harmless. The problem starts with a specific group of bacteria, gram-negative anaerobes. If you want the technical name, that feed on the proteins and sugars left on tooth surfaces after eating. As they feed, they produce a sticky, invisible matrix called biofilm. Biofilm, by a more familiar name, plaque. Plaque is soft. In its early stages, it can be disrupted by chewing, by enzymatic saliva, by mechanical friction. But if it is not disrupted within about 48 to 72 hours, it begins to mineralize. Calcium and phosphate from saliva bind into the biofilm, and it hardens. That is tartar. And once it hardens, no amount of chewing or rinsing removes it. It is physically bonded to the tooth surface. Here is where it gets serious. Tartar is porous. It creates a rough surface that traps even more bacteria below the gum line, where the immune system has a much harder time reaching them. The gum tissue responds with inflammation, that is gingivitis. Left long enough, the inflammation travels deeper, destroying the ligament and bone that anchor the tooth. That is periodontal disease, and it is irreversible. An owner came into my clinic with a 7-year-old golden retriever named Cooper. She said, "Doctor, Harky has been chewing only on one side for the past few months, and he is just not as playful as he used to be." When I opened Cooper's mouth, the back left molars were surrounded by deep red, receding gum tissue and a layer of tartar so thick it had changed the actual shape of the tooth crown. Cooper needed extractions, 3 teeth, and this owner cried in my exam room because nobody had ever told her what to watch for. The bowl matters because most of what drives plaque formation is dietary, and most of what can slow plaque formation is also dietary. That is where we are going next. Now that we understand what we are actually fighting, here's where it gets practical and where a lot of people are surprised by how simple the first solution is. Chapter 2. Raw apple cider vinegar and what it actually does in the mouth. Apple cider vinegar comes up constantly in the holistic pet world, and half the time people use it for the wrong reasons or in the wrong way. So let me be precise about what it actually does for oral health, because the mechanism is real. Raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with the cloudy strand of culture floating at the bottom, called the mother, contains acetic acid, malic acid, and a range of naturally occurring enzymes. The acetic acid is the key player here. It is mildly antimicrobial against the specific gram-negative bacteria that dominate dental plaque in dogs. It also slightly acidifies the oral environment, which disrupts the ionic bonding process that allows soft plaque to mineralize into hard tartar. Think of it this way. Tartar formation is like concrete setting. Once it is set, you need a chisel. But if you keep the chemistry of the environment slightly hostile to that setting process, the plaque stays softer and more vulnerable to being broken down naturally. The correct way to use apple cider vinegar for oral health is not to pour it in the bowl undiluted. Please do not do that. The acidity is too high for daily direct contact with tooth enamel or esophageal tissue. What works is adding 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar to your dog's water bowl once daily. For dogs over 50 pounds, you can go up to 1.5 teaspoons. That is it. You are not trying to create a vinegar bath. You are creating a mild, sustained chemical environment that makes the mouth less hospitable to the bacteria that start this whole cascade. Please hear this vet warning. If your dog already has raw, inflamed, or ulcerated gum tissue, do not start with apple cider vinegar. Acidity on compromised tissue causes pain and can worsen the inflammation. Get the acute infection addressed first, and then introduce this as a maintenance tool. But what if the bacterial problem is not just on the surface of the tooth? What if it has already moved deeper and the immune system itself needs reinforcement from the inside? Chapter 3. Coconut oil and the antimicrobial fat your dog is not getting. Coconut oil became a popular pet supplement for a lot of reasons. Some valid and some wildly overstated. For dental health specifically, the science is more interesting than most people realize, and it comes down to a single compound called lauric acid. Approximately 50% of the fat in virgin coconut oil is lauric acid. In the body, lauric acid converts to monolaurin, and monolaurin has documented antimicrobial activity against gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, including several of the species that drive periodontal inflammation. It works by dissolving the lipid membrane of the bacterial cell. The bacteria essentially fall apart. There is a concept in human dentistry called oil pulling, swishing oil around the mouth to mechanically disrupt biofilm and deliver antimicrobial compounds to the gum line. Dogs obviously cannot oil pull on command, but adding coconut oil to the food creates sustained exposure of the oral tissue to these compounds during eating and licking, which provides a similar, gentler version of that benefit. The correct way to add coconut oil for dental support is 1 teaspoon per day for dogs under 30 pounds and 1 tablespoon per day for dogs over 30 pounds. You add it to the food, not the water. It blends easily with wet food and melts into kibble if you warm it slightly first. Start at half the dose for the first 2 weeks, because too much fat introduced too quickly can cause loose stool or, in predisposed dogs, a pancreatitis flare. A client of mine, a retired teacher with a 12-year-old beagle mix named Biscuit, started adding coconut oil after I recommended it post-cleaning to maintain the results. She came back 4 months later and said, "Dr. Park, his breath smells like a normal dog now instead of something I cannot describe. That is not a miracle. That is the sustained antimicrobial effect, reducing the bacterial load that produces those volatile sulfur compounds, the actual chemistry behind bad breath. Vet warning: dogs who have had pancreatitis, have gallbladder issues, or are on a prescription low-fat diet should not have coconut oil added without direct guidance from their own vet. Please hear that clearly. If you have tried the basics and the buildup keeps coming back, what you are about to hear in the next section is the piece most people completely skip, and it might be the most important one. Chapter 4. The enzyme you have been throwing away. This is the block I want you to pay close attention to, because it reframes something most dog owners have never thought about. There is a reason even puppies eating the same commercial diet as adult dogs tend to have significantly less plaque accumulation. Part of it is age and metabolism, but a major part of it is the enzyme activity in their saliva. Young dogs produce higher quantities of salivary enzymes, including lysozyme and lactoperoxidase, that actively break down bacterial cell walls and disrupt biofilm formation before it can mineralize. As dogs age, that enzymatic activity declines, and the ultra-processed nature of most commercial kibble cooked at extremely high temperatures, stripped of most naturally occurring enzymes, means the food itself contributes zero enzymatic support to the oral environment. This is where fresh papaya and fresh pineapple become genuinely powerful tools. Papaya contains papain, pineapple contains bromelain. Both are proteolytic enzymes, meaning they break down proteins at the molecular level. The biofilm matrix that plaque is built from is protein-based. Papain and bromelain do not just sit in the stomach. During the act of chewing and the brief window of oral contact, they begin acting on the biofilm directly. They also get absorbed and contribute to systemic anti-inflammatory pathways that help moderate the gum tissue response to bacterial invasion. The correct way to use this: 1 to 2 small cubes of fresh papaya or fresh pineapple, not canned, not juiced, not dried, added to the bowl 3 to 4 times per week. Canning destroys these enzymes. The heat involved in processing renders them biologically inert. It has to be fresh fruit. For a 50-pound dog, we are talking about 2 or 3 thumb-sized pieces of papaya. For a small dog under 15 pounds, 1 piece is plenty. This is not a significant calorie addition. It is a targeted enzymatic delivery. I need to pause here for a very important vet warning. Pineapple and papaya both contain natural sugars. They are safe in the small quantities I just described, but they should not become a daily large treat. And please check every packaged product that might contain these fruits for xylitol, also sold under the name birch sugar. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener found in some flavored yogurts, some fruit cups, and some pet dental products, and it is acutely toxic to dogs. Even a small amount can cause life-threatening hypoglycemia and liver failure. If you are using whole, fresh fruit that you can see and identify, you are safe. The moment you reach for a packaged product, read every single ingredient. Now here's where most people stop. They find 2 or 3 things that seem to help and they stick with them forever. But the real power in this protocol is in what comes next, something almost nobody is talking about in the dental health conversation. Chapter 5. The seaweed that calcified plaque researchers have been studying for over a decade. I want you to picture the surface of a tooth under a microscope. Even after a professional cleaning, within hours, a new conditioning film forms on the enamel surface. Bacteria attach to it. They begin secreting their matrix proteins. The cycle starts again. This is not a failure of the cleaning, it is biology. The question is, what can interrupt that early attachment phase? There is a specific type of seaweed, Ascophyllum nodosum, a cold water kelp found primarily in the North Atlantic that has been the subject of genuine peer-reviewed research in veterinary dentistry. The bioactive compounds in this seaweed, particularly the polyphenols and complex fucoidins, appear to be absorbed into the saliva and secreted back into the oral environment. And in that environment, they interfere with the ability of the primary colonizing bacteria to adhere to the tooth surface. If the bacteria cannot adhere, the biofilm does not form. If the biofilm does not form, the plaque does not accumulate. If the plaque does not accumulate, the tartar does not mineralize. The entire cascade is interrupted at the very first step. There is a commercial product category built entirely around this mechanism. Oral health supplements containing Ascophyllum nodosum are the only category of dog dental product that carries the VOHC seal, the Veterinary Oral Health Council's independent seal of approval, for plaque and tartar control. That seal means the product has been tested in controlled trials and shown to actually work. When you are shopping, look for the VOHC seal, specifically on any seaweed-based oral supplement. You can also find food-grade dried kelp or Ascophyllum nodosum powder at most health food stores or online pet supplement retailers. The standard maintenance dose for a medium-sized dog, around 40 to 60 pounds, is approximately a quarter teaspoon of the dried powder added to food daily. Smaller dogs get an eighth of a teaspoon, larger dogs up to a half teaspoon. One owner came in a few weeks after I recommended this, a young woman in her 20s with a rescued 4-year-old pit bull mix named Diesel, who had significant tartar buildup along the back molars from his unknown previous diet. She had been consistent with the kelp powder for 3 weeks. When I did a quick oral exam, the tartar along the front teeth had visibly softened at the margins. Not gone 3 weeks is not enough to reverse years of buildup, but measurably different. She was more motivated than I have seen most owners about anything dental related, and Diesel had noticeably fresher breath. Vet warning: Ascophyllum nodosum contains naturally occurring iodine. Dogs with thyroid conditions, hypothyroidism, or hyperthyroidism should not use seaweed supplements without explicit guidance from their veterinarian, as iodine intake directly affects thyroid hormone regulation. If your dog is on thyroid medication, this one is not for you without that conversation first. We are almost at the most powerful piece of this whole protocol, and it is the one that surprises people the most because it has nothing to do with the mouth at all. Chapter 6: The Gut-Mouth Axis and Why a Healthy Microbiome Changes Everything You Just Learned. Everything I have told you so far targets the problem at the site, the mouth, the tooth surface, the biofilm, and all of it is genuinely effective. But there is a layer underneath all of it that most dental health content never touches, and without it, you are fighting uphill forever. Your dog's gut microbiome and their oral microbiome communicate continuously. The immune cells that are trained in the gut are the same immune cells that patrol the gingival tissue. The inflammatory signaling that originates in a disrupted gut lining is the same inflammatory environment that makes gum tissue more reactive to bacterial invasion. A dog with chronic gut dysbiosis, an imbalanced microbiome from years of antibiotics, processed food, or stress, has an immune system that is already primed to overreact, and that overreaction in the gums is called gingivitis. This means that if you add the vinegar, the coconut oil, the enzymes, and the seaweed, but the gut is dysbiotic, you are managing symptoms of a system that is fighting itself. The missing piece is probiotic support specifically. Strains that have been shown to colonize effectively in dogs and modulate the inflammatory response. The 2 strains with the most evidence in canine gut health are Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium animalis. Plain, unsweetened goat's milk kefir is one of the most bioavailable sources of both for dogs, and it also contains naturally occurring enzymes and immunoglobulins that support mucosal immunity, the immune tissue that lines both the gut and the gum. The correct way to add kefir: 1 to 2 tablespoons daily for small dogs, 3 to 4 tablespoons daily for medium dogs, and up to a quarter cup daily for large breeds. You add it directly to the bowl at mealtime. It blends with kibble or wet food without any preparation. Start at half the dose for the first week to allow the gut to adjust. Some dogs experience mild gas or soft stool in the first few days. This is the microbiome shifting, and it resolves. Here's the mandatory warning, and I need you to hear this very clearly. If you buy any flavored kefir, any sweetened kefir, any yogurt you plan to substitute, or any peanut butter you plan to use as a pill pocket, alongside this protocol, check the label for xylitol and birch sugar before it touches your dog's food. I have seen this mistake in my clinic. An owner brings in a dog with acute tremors and low blood sugar, and the culprit is a flavored yogurt they assumed was safe because it was plain looking. Always read the label, every time. Not once every time, because formulations change. The fact that you are watching a video this detailed, taking notes, thinking about your dog's microbiome, that is not something a careless owner does. That is love expressed as diligence. And now let me give you the part that ties all of this together. You do not need to do all 6 of these at once. Please do not try to add everything to the bowl on day 1. That is overwhelming for your dog's system and overwhelming for you to maintain. The goal is a sustainable rotation that you can actually keep up for years, because consistency is the only thing that moves the needle on dental health. Here's the starting formula I recommend to most of my clients. Pick 1 enzyme source, 1 antimicrobial support, and one gut builder to begin with. That might be fresh papaya 3 times a week, coconut oil daily at the low end of the dose, and a tablespoon of plain goat's milk kefir at dinner. Run that for 4 weeks and observe. Look at the gum color. Smell the breath. Watch how your dog chews. Then add the seaweed powder. Then, if there is still visible buildup on the teeth, introduce the apple cider vinegar in the water. The quick summary of everything we covered: apple cider vinegar in the water bowl to disrupt mineralization, virgin coconut oil in the food for antimicrobial fat, fresh papaya or fresh pineapple for enzymatic biofilm breakdown, Ascophyllum nodosum seaweed powder for bacterial adhesion interference at the gum line, and plain unsweetened goat's milk kefir to rebuild the gut immune connection that determines how reactive the gum tissue is in the first place. None of these replace a professional dental cleaning for a dog who already has significant tartar or periodontal disease. If your dog has inflamed gums, visible tooth mobility, refusal to eat on one side, or a smell that goes beyond normal dog breath, please schedule an exam. What we are talking about today is support and prevention, the daily work that protects the investment of that cleaning and slows or stops the return of the problem. The fact that you watched this far, that you took this seriously enough to spend time learning about your dog's teeth, that is exactly what this channel is about. You are not a bad pet parent. You are a better one than you were an hour ago. If this video helped you, please give it a like. It tells the algorithm that this kind of careful, thorough guidance is worth sharing, and it helps me protect more pets like yours. Subscribe if you are not already, so you do not miss the next masterclass. And leave me a comment below with one specific question. Are you dealing more with plaque and tartar buildup, or is bad breath your bigger concern right now? Tell me which ingredient from today goes in the bowl first. I read every single comment and I answer as many as I possibly can. The best medicine is usually already sitting in your kitchen. Give your dog a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Park. Stay safe and always trust your instinct.